Have you ever noticed that the more a man worries about finishing too fast, the faster it sometimes happens? This isn't just frustration, it's psychology. Overthinking can actually interfere with control, confidence, and performance. And today we're going to explain exactly why that happens and how the mind can quietly sabotage the body. Because in many cases, the problem isn't physical at all, it's mental. Let's start with something many men don't realize. Performance anxiety is extremely common. A lot of men believe they are the only ones struggling with pressure around intimacy, timing, or control. But psychologists and relationship therapists see this issue constantly. And one of the biggest hidden causes is overthinking. When the mind becomes too focused on performance, the natural rhythm of intimacy gets disrupted. Instead of being present in the moment, the brain starts running a constant internal dialogue. Am I doing this right? What if I lose control? What if I disappoint her? The moment those thoughts appear, the brain shifts into a completely different state, and that state makes control much harder. Your brain and body are deeply connected. When you are relaxed and emotionally present, the nervous system operates in what psychologists call the parasympathetic state. This is the state associated with calmness, connection, and controlled responses. But when overthinking begins, the brain activates the stress response system. This is often referred to as the fight or flight response. The body becomes more alert, heart rate increases, muscles tighten, breathing becomes faster. And in that state, the body is not focused on control, it's focused on release of tension. That physiological shift can make timing much harder to regulate. So ironically, the more a man tries to control the outcome through intense mental monitoring, the more pressure he creates, and that pressure works against him. Overthinking usually comes from one place: pressure to perform perfectly. Many men carry the belief that they must always appear confident, capable, and in control. But intimacy is not a performance, it's a shared experience. When a man treats it like a performance that must be judged or evaluated, anxiety naturally increases, and anxiety fuels overthinking. This creates a cycle. Pressure leads to anxiety leads to overthinking, overthinking disrupts control. The cycle repeats until confidence begins to drop. Another psychological factor involved here is hyper-awareness. Hyper-awareness happens when someone becomes overly focused on their own physical sensations. Instead of experiencing the moment naturally, the mind constantly monitors what the body is doing. For example, is this happening too quickly? Am I losing control? That constant monitoring keeps the brain in a state of tension, and tension rarely helps control. This is why many therapists encourage men to shift attention away from self-monitoring and back toward connection and presence. When attention moves away from internal pressure and back toward shared experience, the body often responds more naturally. Confidence is one of the most powerful psychological stabilizers in intimate situations. When a man feels confident, the brain interprets the situation as safe and relaxed. That calm mental state allows the nervous system to function normally. But when confidence drops, the brain begins scanning for potential problems, and that scanning leads directly back to overthinking. This is why men who feel confident and relaxed tend to have far fewer issues with control. Their attention stays focused on connection rather than performance evaluation. Many people don't realize that performance anxiety isn't always caused by the relationship itself. External stress can play a major role. Work pressure, sleep deprivation, emotional tension, chronic worry. When stress builds in daily life, the nervous system becomes more sensitive overall. That sensitivity can carry into intimate situations as well, which means addressing overall stress levels can often improve confidence and control indirectly. Before we continue, a quick note: this video and channel are for educational purposes only and do not provide medical advice. Always consult a qualified professional for medical concerns. One of the most effective psychological changes men can make is shifting their mindset. Instead of thinking, "How long can I last?" the better question becomes, "How connected are we in this moment?" This shift changes the entire mental environment. When the focus moves from performance measurement to shared experience, pressure begins to decrease. And when pressure decreases, the body often responds with greater natural control. The bigger picture. It's important to remember that intimacy is not a test that must be passed. It's a form of connection. When a man approaches it with curiosity, presence, and confidence, the experience becomes far less stressful, and when stress decreases, control usually improves naturally. Understanding this psychological dynamic can be incredibly empowering because it means the problem is often more manageable than men assume. Overthinking is one of the quietest enemies of confidence. The mind tries to control everything, but in many situations, control appears when the mind relaxes and allows the body to function naturally. Confidence grows not from perfection, but from presence. And when men learn to quiet the internal pressure and focus on connection, many of the problems caused by anxiety begin to fade. If you found this video helpful, I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever noticed how stress or overthinking affects your confidence in relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more psychology-based insights about attraction, confidence, and relationships, consider subscribing, because understanding how the mind works can completely change how we experience connection.